This is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today I wanted to go over this article titled Three Graphs Showing Why Today's Housing Market Isn't Like 2008. And the three graphs actually start with the supply of homes because, again, basically for what controls pricing is typically going to be supply and demand. Demand has dropped off pretty dramatically from last year and even 2020, just because interest rates have gone up quite considerably as well. So gone are the days, and I always explain this to the sellers that I'm working with as well, is that you have to temper expectations. Gone are the days of, the summer of 2021, where you would put a house on the market on a Thursday and you'd be lucky if you made it to Sunday before it went under contract. So, we were seeing 10 plus offers on well-priced homes there, and anything and everything was selling. Well, now the supply of houses, while it has been increasing nationally, and I do make a couple of videos and always say that there is no such thing as the national market, but just to go over this right now, the housing supply is increasing nationally, although in my market it's actually staying about the same as it was last year. You could see that it's still nothing compared to the buildup of '06, '07, and '08 then, where there was the housing crash in 2008. So that was the one thing. Next thing is mortgage standards have actually gotten much better over time. Basically, they were forced to get better because the government, after bailing out a lot of banks, decided, hey, we need to improve our lending standards. And you could see how easy it was to get a loan approved. That's actually what this shows right here. It says that in this index, the higher the number, the easier it is to get a mortgage. The lower the number, the harder it is. And basically what we're looking at here is it was 8.5 times easier to get a mortgage back then, at the height of it, basically in 2006, 2007, compared to where we are right now in October of 2022. And I do expect that this number is actually going to go up a little bit. So the reason why it's been so tight from 2020 all the way through now is, yes, the lending standards have been very tight in general, but why would lenders feel the need to actually loosen those standards when there was already so much demand last year and the year prior? Like, they were doing plenty of business. They didn't need to loosen their standards and add more risk to their portfolio. So keep those standards tight. I would be interested to see where we head in the next couple of years, especially if interest rates are staying near the 7% mark, just because there are far fewer purchase applications and refinance applications. And are those lending institutions going to start loosening the reins a little bit just to try to stay alive, keep their business alive? Because ultimately they need to make loans to make money. And if too few people are being qualified to actually get a loan, that's where I'll see certain lenders roll out these loan programs that I find to be a little more questionable. So that's just something to keep in mind. And lastly, the foreclosure volume is nothing like it was during the crash. This is another thing that I always point out when people are like, hey, foreclosures are up, 100% or 200% compared to last year. Well, sure, look at the foreclosure data from, 2020 all the way through 2022, first quarter of 2022. That has been historically low. And part of that in 2020, obviously they had a foreclosure moratorium where they weren't allowing foreclosure. They also obviously had their forbearance programs, and that's why things are starting to catch up now. But you could see where we're at now versus where we were at in '07, '08, '09, and even 2010, it's nowhere even close. We're not even approaching 75, 80,000 foreclosures. Like you can see right here, we were at 67,000 foreclosures that were started in the third quarter of 2022, compared to over 550,000 foreclosures starting um, in what is that, 2009. So those are the three main reasons why this market is not anything close to 2008. I just figured I'd share that with you in case you do hear that. The other thing that it does say is the total average equity per borrower has now reached almost $300,000, which is the highest in the data series. So a lot of people, that number is not going to be accurate for where I live in Northeast Ohio, but a lot of people still have equity, and a lot of equity. So even if they are behind on their payments and they're even at risk of being foreclosed on, you better believe that a lot of them will reach out to an agent, or they'll try to sell it on their own, and they'll still be able to walk away even, or even possibly slightly ahead, um, despite being behind on their payments. That's one way that they can avoid foreclosure, they can avoid bankruptcy, and they can avoid really ruining their credit. So while not everybody, unfortunately, does take advantage of that, some people will just bury their head in the sand and act like everything is okay until literally it's not. That's where I really think that we're not going to see a huge wave of foreclosures anytime in the near future. So that's just my thoughts on this, and I did want to share this with you. It's from Keeping Current Matters. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk about it. Thanks, and have a great day.